You brought up Drake. Very good transition. Rory and Maul were talking on their podcast about whether Drake can retire, and like a lot of people on the timeline have been talking about that as well, and
'Cause I think
saying
he
like,
said it, right?
huh?
He said he
Yeah,
was
he
like,
said in the Lil Yachty interview he's introducing the idea of planning his exit. A very roundabout way of saying like he's thinking about retirement. And so that led to a lot of different podcasts talking about it. And then like social media has been saying like hip hop will be screwed if Drake leaves. And I feel like it's a little dramatic. I see what people mean just because Drake controls so much. Like he's made the genre, and he hasn't done it alone. A lot of other rappers have helped make the genre global and as big as it is. But like he's obviously been at the top. So I would love to know your thoughts, especially working on the internal stuff within music and like seeing the label and industry infrastructure. Like, one, can Drake retire, and will hip hop be screwed if he does?
I think I would be devastated. Like, I just love Drake overall, just as like a brand. I feel like I don't think he makes any bad music. I don't. I love, honestly, Nevermind is probably my favorite album from him, to be honest, because I just love, I'm just not like I am a trap girl, but I feel like growing up, I listened to so much different music that I was like, for him to be able to make this music is so great. Like, not a lot of rappers, quote unquote, can do that.
And now they're all trying to.
Yeah. And I also think someone who did a great job with that was Lil Yachty. His latest album is so good. Yes. And the release event was so, like, amazing.
Yeah.
But even outside of that, I feel like he is such, like, an influence, and I think he's the only one to do this along with Nicki. I feel like of many generations. Like, there's kids now who love Drake, and there's adults who love Drake.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Nicki, and I feel like it's, like, very few artists that can have multiple generations of fans, because there can be kids now, like toddlers, who grow up and still might love Drake if he keeps making music.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would put a stunt on hip hop, because it's also very important, like who he follows makes the news, like who he co-signs always blows up. Like there's Baby, Dirk, like even though they were their own stars in their own light, like once he shines a light on someone, it's like they blow up. So I feel like, who would be the next person to do that? Like, there's no one else who can do that.
It's tough.
For the artists these days, I feel like.
And I feel like the music community has been very thirsty to crown the next person. Like, when after Roddy dropped his album in 2019, people were saying like, oh, he's gonna be a superstar. And then he dropped that album in 2021, and we're like, I don't know anymore. Lil Baby, he's been set up to be the next superstar. And his last album from October, I wasn't really feeling it. Really doesn't get talked about anymore. Like, it really came and went. Dirk was cooking for a long time before Drake. Obviously, Drake kind of gave him a bigger platform, and he's still pretty hot right now, I'd say. But like, yeah, it's really tough. Uzi's another one. So I think there are candidates who can step into the big three. I just don't know if anyone is ever going to be able to do it the way Drake did.
Because I feel like in order to be, Drake would be like, I don't want to say anything crazy because, people are so crazy.
Yeah.
But he's like, I want to say like this generation's Jay-Z in terms of like, I don't think people are aware of like all the businesses he has. He has his champagne line. He has candles. Yeah. Like, I'm sure he has a bunch of other stuff we don't know about.
Executive producer shows.
Yeah, like he's very smart. He's well-spoken. I feel like there's not a lot of major superstars that have all of that.
Yeah. A lot of them really just stick to the music.
Yeah.
And
he's an actor. Like, I also want to bring that back. Like, I forgot what movie I was watching the other day. I think it was State Property. And I was like, what happened to all the rappers being in movies?
Facts.
Like, I want to bring that back.
Yeah.
But just being like multifaceted, I feel like that all makes you into a superstar, and like just having a great personality. Like, we laugh, he's funny, and just being actually really talented. I feel like, like Baby and Dirk, they're great, they're amazing, but they just stick to what they know.
Yeah.
And they don't try to do anything else, and that's cool. So I don't know if we can necessarily crown them like the next Drake. They can be them.
Yeah.
In their own, that's why I'm like, everybody's in their own lane.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there'll be another Drake for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I too am a huge Drake fan, Drake stan. Me and Siobhan, we rave about him all the time. I would like, while I'd definitely be sad if he like officially said like I'm retiring, like he's given us so much, and we can always go back to it. But
I feel like this tour is giving retirement.
It's a lot of what he's been doing it really feels like he's reaching
like
that. He's
4 New York shows.
Yeah.
It's like, y'all better catch one of these shows.
Yeah.
Like it straight.
He's like, a lot of people are like giving him his flowers too, like Jim Jones saying he's the greatest of all time. Like there's a lot of it feels like the victory lap, like the last hurrah, and it's crazy to think about because I started listening to him in like 2008. Like I watched him on Degrassi prior to that. Like growing up, like the music has really been impactful for me. And that's the thing with Drake we always talk about is like he connects to us, he relates to us.
He's a big part of. I feel like a lot of people sleep on how big of a part he is in our life.
Yeah.
Like I remember being in high school listening to like some of his songs on SoundCloud that weren't even like going up yet.
Yeah.
And it's like for somebody to have such a long, successful run and know like none of his music is trash, and that's very rare to say. Like he might have songs that are better than others, but it's not a bad song. Like, so it's crazy.
You're speaking my language. I really don't debate people anymore. Like I tweeted this the other day. I don't debate anymore because it's futile. Like people will like intentionally miss your point or they'll bring up some other shit.
I mean, some people are Drake haters. They'll just be haters.
Exactly.
And like, yeah, he does do stuff that's corny as everybody does, every artist, but it's like that doesn't take away from him as an artist.
Exactly. So yeah, I while I definitely don't want him to rush towards retirement, I'm interested in what the landscape will look like when he's stepped away, and I feel like he's gonna kind of get to that Hove phase where he's like doing like one verse a year, something like that. But I don't know, like. That might even be a while because he really loves this music making shit. Like he really loves the rapper lifestyle.
I feel like you have to, in order to keep doing what he's doing, you have to like be in love with your craft. So I don't want him to retire.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe we'll be having this conversation again in like 2035.